We've got Steve on the line with us.
Yep.
Steve, you there?
Yes, I am. How are you, buddy?
How you doing, man? Are you tired? Have you recovered? I should tell these guys we finished wrapping the season at Thursday, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
And then Steve got on a flight.
Yeah.
When was your flight?
I was on the flight at 6:30 in the morning yesterday, which I got in about 2:30 in the afternoon yesterday, New York time. So yeah, I'm adjusting now. I'm back in the swing of things. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I don't think I've really slept since I've seen you last.
Sure.
So I get a lot of questions. I know you get a lot of questions being on the league about all the players. We've actually had some really fun ones this year. I just wanted to know, like, which out of all the guys we've had, who did you like the most?
You know, it was fun to do that rookie. The first week that we did that, we faked the combine and we had those rookies come in. Those guys were great. I got to hang with them a little bit because it was just me that whole day, and them, and getting to talk to Taylor, Lewan, and I hung around and ran with Mike Evans just to get like the excitement that those guys have. And then how could you not love Carlos Hyde? I mean, I know you remember. He has to kind of ridicule me like everybody else does. He's so nice. He could never keep up. He smiled every time he said something mean to me because he knew how funny and mean he was being. And it was almost very cute. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and the thing is, we had, at the Combine, we had Ryan Shazier and Stephon Tuitt from the Steelers, Carlos Hyde from the Niners, Taylor Lewan from the Titans, and big Mike Evans from the Bucks. And, it was a, hey, you're in the NFL now moment for them. I think you're right, because it was, hey, I'm not just a rookie in the NFL. Oh, being a rookie in the NFL means I'm now on a TV show, too. So they were rookies on the league, and it is hard. Carlos Hyde needed to be mean to you, and he couldn't. And then every time you spoke, he laughed. And we're like, no, Kevin is annoying to you. And he's like, I know, but he's funny. And I think you actually...
those guys were great. I got to race. Remember, I raced Mike Evans. And then at one point, we were doing the 40 against each other. And at one point, we were just I can tell he was jogging, but I was I had my, I was in the red. And so I go, you know what, let's just see what I got. And I just went past him a little bit, maybe a quarter of a millimeter. And he went by me so quickly I heard him. It was like, whoa, just heard him go right by. And I was like, oh, that's closing speed right there.
And by the way, I think those guys were the 40. You don't realize how tall and how fast those guys are until you actually see it. You had to run against it. The other thing is, I think you're probably the first person, at least first Hollywood person, that Taylor Lewan has cradled in his arms like a baby.
That's true. That's true. I probably won't be the last. Hopefully, I won't be the last. But I was the first. And probably will be the hairiest, for sure. The one with the most hair. Yeah.
Hey, so I got a question for you.
100%.
So definitely 100% with your, because you were just in that tiny little, you were in sort of two outfits. You were in that tiny little bit of spandex, and then you were in your hair suit, which you have all over your body.
Yeah, my hair suit, which God gave me, my hair sweater and pants, which I appreciate from the maker. And then just that sausage casing that you put me in, that seems to be a recurring theme, which people will find out when they watch the rest of the league this year. Sausage casing. That's what it was.
Hey, I got a question for you. So we're late in the season, or we're midway through the season. Injuries are mounting up. I don't think people realize that as a professional comic actor, you get a lot of injuries also. I think on the show, what have we done? Season 1, we hurt your back. And then season 2, was it season 2 or season 3, we burned your genitals.
Oof, that was a rough one. I would say out of everything that's happened to me, the back, they make medicine for that. But the pain and then even the mental anguish that goes along with getting, that region burned was still mind-numbing. It was difficult. And we did try to give all... we were very safe about it. We gave all the instructions on what to do and what not to do. It was just a freak accident.
And just so people know,
of just celebrating and tearing my ACL.
Just so people know, what we were doing was Steve Rannazzisi needed to run into the room with his pubic hair on fire, due to a series of events that I won't bother you with right now because this is also more of a family show than our show. But we had a smoker. What you have to do is you have to put a smoker in his pants, so it looks like smoke is coming out of that area.
Okay.
The only problem is the smoker generates a little bit of heat out of one end.
Right around where it comes out, almost as if like if it was a gun, it would be right where the bullet comes out. That metal circle just really gets hot with when the smoke comes out of it.
Which is okay because that's usually pointing out. But if you're running around and being very active, it can fold back in, and then it can burn. And then brands you, and then sears through your underwear, and then right to your region, and it basically seared a little circle down there. To which, thank goodness, we have a crack medical staff on the league. Our medic Wayne, right to the rescue, right, Jeff? Yeah, when you get burned down there, you almost would rather not have the medic get his hands all over it, but that wasn't the case for Steve. And in fact, our medic was everyone was so embarrassed that he got hurt. The medic kept wanting to get back in there and help, which really only made it worse. Yeah, that's the kind of pain Tony Romo has never had to play through. Is a burn right down there because it doesn't go away.
And act and give another take right after that happens. But once Wayne put his medical cream on my region, I was over there and I was up and we finished the scene like a champion.
And I think this is great. These are the things that people really want to know because I get asked about your genitals almost every day. So this has answered a lot of questions for a lot of people. One of the things, look, you're on a show where you play fantasy football. So many people play fantasy football.
Yeah.
When people find you, airports, restaurants, whatever, I assume it must be like a bonus for them because I get to meet this guy I like, and he's going to get me into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they think how it usually works is, are you the guy from the league, or they scream the league 3 inches from your face, and then it's, hey, that's one of my favorite shows. Can we take a picture? Then it's, do you really play fantasy football? Which I don't want to lie to people, but I'm going to start to now and say no. But I say yes, and then they go, well, who would you play between? And they just automatically assume that I have some sort of, vast knowledge of the game. When we all know I'm not very good at it. So yeah, it's difficult. I just tell people, I give them the best advice I have, and then I ask them not to hurt my family if I'm wrong.
Although I will say, when we started the show, we started a fantasy football league, the League of the League.
Yeah.
And it's the 6 actors and Jackie and I, and Steve Rannazzisi and I were the only 2 who had actually played fantasy football before. So we looked at each other when we started this league, and there was this unspoken thing, and what did you say to me? You go, buddy, we got this. Buddy, we got this. You and me in the Super Bowl.
We're going to be splitting up these championships left and right. We'll be giving them to each other.
And how many of you won?
Yep. 0.
Well, here's my question for you guys, because his character obviously seems somewhat loosely based on you in real life with your wife, because she's dominating the League of the League, and obviously his on-screen wife, Katie, Jenny, seems to kind of rule the roost there, and he's always searching for advice. So is that difficult for you, Steve, as an actor, to play a character that's somewhat based on the creators? Or am I exaggerating here? Am I overstepping?
I don't think it's, I think we're just kind of living out some of the scenarios that Jeff has either overheard at dinner parties or stuff that he's gotten himself into in real life. I don't really think it's us playing a version of them, although it does seem to reflect the fact that, Jackie has won the league, I believe, twice, the League of the League, and Jenny is the champion this year. So we do not shy away from the fact that that the women in our lives are more dominant than we are.
By the way, speaking of the other thing where art imitates reality, imitating art, so John LaJoie, who plays Taco on the league, is from Canada. In real life, knows so little about football. We actually realized the other day that he knows less about football than Taco. We were sitting around a week ago, and Steve, what did you ask him?
I basically asked him at some point, because we were just talking about fantasy football, and I was really surprised at that point, the real lack of knowledge that he had. So then I was like, well, how deep is this lack of knowledge? So I just asked him at what point, what team Peyton Manning has plays for now, because he didn't know the quarterback that I had and what team he's on. So I said, you know what, I'll take either team that he's ever played for. He's only played for 2. So then he could not remember the team that Peyton Manning played for.
Even when we gave him hints, right?
We were at the Super Bowl last year. We saw Peyton Manning play. what was the name of one of the two teams in the Super Bowl? And then to which he replied, what, Jeff?
Jets. And we go, no, the stadium was the Jets. And then we said, you watch these people. And he goes, there was a lot of stuff going on. And then Steve gives him a cue and he says, okay, the team is orange. And John thinks about
yes.
it.
I asked him the colors first. Orange, yes.
And then he goes,
correct.
And we said, what team? And he says, the Browns. And we said, no, Peyton Manning doesn't play for the Browns. And he goes, yes, the Cleveland Broncos are orange. and by the way, this pine cone that we're talking about has beaten Steve this year in fantasy football.
Oh, no, Steve. Say it's not true.
Also, only playing 8 players. Playing 2 players, one who has, I think he still has David Wilson in his lineup.
Yeah.
And I think that he had a guy in a bye that week and still demolished me.
Yeah. Hey, so Steve, now that you're done with the league and you don't have to listen to me anymore after this moment, you've got your comedy tour coming up, yeah?
Yes, the Strawberry Blonde Ambition Tour. It's going to kick off next week in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then I'll be at Caroline's in New York the week after, and then Cobb's in San Francisco the week after that. So all my dates are on steverannazzisi.com, tickets, everything. So, yeah, I kick off the tour next week. I'm excited about that.
All right, well, Steve, thank you so much, and I will see you in the League of the League Super Bowl.
Yes, buddy. Sure. One day, I'm sure.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.